Have you ever noticed how heavy a door feels when you are walking into a new place for the very first time? It is not the physical weight of the wood or the metal that makes it hard to push open. It is the absolute weight of the unknown. You are standing there, your hand hovering over the handle, and your mind immediately starts playing the most cruel tricks on you. Your heartbeat gets loud. Your palms might get a little cold and sweaty. The voice inside your head starts whispering all your deepest insecurities. What if I say the completely wrong thing? What if my pronunciation is terrible? What if everyone realizes I do not belong here at all? I know that feeling. We all do. That tightness in your chest is the universal human experience of starting something new. It is the invisible tax you pay for stepping out of your familiar comfort zone and choosing to grow. People often think that confidence means you are never afraid. But real, unbreakable confidence is feeling entirely terrified, acknowledging that raw fear, and choosing to push the door open anyway. Every single professional you admire was once a trembling beginner standing in front of a heavy door. The discomfort you feel in those quiet, nervous moments is not a warning sign that you are failing. It is the exact opposite. It is the actual physical sensation of growth. You are actively becoming someone entirely new. Someone much more capable, someone who refuses to hide. Welcome to episode 1 of our journey together. I am so incredibly happy and honored that you are here today. If you find deep value in these honest conversations, if they help you feel even a little less alone in your English learning journey, please take a quick second right now to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. It truly means the world to me, and it helps us continue to build this amazing community of brave learners. Today we are going to face that intimidating door together. We are walking into a very specific, demanding real-world scenario. I want you to imagine that you have just landed a job at a bustling, massive textile factory. The giant machines are humming with incredible energy, people are moving fast with clear purpose, and you are the newest member of the team. You have to walk up to strangers and introduce yourself. For someone learning English at an elementary beginner level, this specific situation can feel exactly like trying to climb a steep mountain without any ropes. You have all the warm greetings perfectly formed in your native language, but trying to translate them into English while under the intense pressure makes you feel completely overwhelmed. Your brain simply freezes. You forget words you have known for years. But today we are going to break that massive fear down into tiny, easily manageable pieces. We are not just blindly memorizing vocabulary words today. We are learning how to truly own your personal space. When you introduce yourself to a new team, it is never just about exchanging names. It is about proudly claiming your right to be in that room. It is about looking people directly in the eye and communicating a silent message that says, I am here. I am ready to work hard, and my presence matters. We will explore the absolute basics, the foundational A1 and A2 level expressions, but we will learn how to deliver them with absolute power and quiet dignity. You absolutely do not need a massive vocabulary to command respect from your peers. You just need clear pronunciation, warm body language, and firm intention. So right now, take a very deep breath in. Drop your tense shoulders away from your ears. Unclench your jaw. You have already accomplished the hardest part of the entire process just by showing up here today and pressing play. The rest is simply practice. We are going to build your professional voice from the ground up, starting with the simplest, most effective ways to say a warm hello to your new colleagues. You are going to learn how to smile gently through the nervous energy and speak with a steady, grounded presence. Let us take that brave first step onto the factory floor. Imagine standing right in the middle of that busy factory floor. The machines are loud, the lights are bright, and every single person around you is moving with absolute certainty. They know exactly where the break room is. They know exactly how the machinery works. They know each other's names, they are laughing at inside jokes, and they are doing their jobs effortlessly. And then there is you. You feel completely frozen. It is so easy to look around in a moment like that and feel an overwhelming sense of isolation. You start thinking, I am the only one who does not understand what is happening. I am the only one who is struggling. This is a very specific type of loneliness that only a beginner truly understands. It is the heavy burden of assuming that everyone else is naturally talented, and you are the only one who has to fight for every single step forward. But I need you to realize something profoundly important right now. What you are doing in that moment is incredibly unfair to yourself. You are comparing your messy, confusing day 1 to someone else's comfortable day 1000. You are looking at a finished masterpiece and punishing yourself because your rough sketch does not look the same. Every person you see walking around that factory with total confidence had a day 1 that looked exactly like yours. They got lost looking for the restroom. They stumbled over their words when they met the manager. They went home exhausted and wondered if they had made a huge mistake taking the job. Competence is not a magical gift that you are born with. It is an invisible scar tissue built over time through hundreds of tiny, embarrassing mistakes. The only difference between the expert and the beginner is that the expert failed more times than the beginner even tried. You are allowed to be new. You are allowed to not know everything yet. Give yourself the grace and the permission to be an absolute beginner without letting shame consume you. If you are finding comfort in this space and if this message resonates with your personal journey, please make sure to subscribe and give this video a like so we can keep growing together. Let us pull you back into that factory scenario now with a tiny bit of armor. The absolute best way to break that feeling of isolation is to simply acknowledge it out loud. You do not need complex grammar to make a connection. When you walk up to a coworker who is busy checking a textile machine, keep it incredibly brief and wonderfully human. Just make eye contact, smile and say, "Hi, I am Sarah, I am the new team member here." That is it. Just, "Hi, I am Sarah, I am the new team member here." Notice how we are not apologizing for being new. We are simply stating a fact. If you want to take one tiny step further to start a real conversation, you can ask a very simple direction question. "Excuse me, could you tell me where the supervisor is?" The word supervisor simply means the manager or the person in charge of your work area. Supervisor. It is a powerful, essential word to hold in your back pocket on your very first day. You say, "Hi, I am Sarah. I am new here. Could you tell me where the supervisor is?" By asking for a tiny piece of help, you are doing something magical. You are inviting that other person to step into a helpful role, which immediately softens the environment. It breaks the ice. People actually love to help when the request is clear and respectful. You are no longer just a stranger standing nervously by a machine. You are a real human being making a genuine connection. There is a completely different kind of exhaustion that hits you when you are learning something new, and it has absolutely nothing to do with physical labor. It is the mental drain of trying to be absolutely flawless. When we step into a professional environment, especially when we care deeply about the quality of our work, we build this heavy, invisible armor of perfection around ourselves. We tell ourselves that we are not allowed to stumble. We believe that if we mispronounce just one vowel, if we use the wrong verb tense, or if we ask a question that seems too simple, the entire room will instantly judge us. You hold your breath, you police every single syllable that comes out of your mouth, and you carry this agonizing pressure to perform perfectly from the very first second. This is what I call the perfectionist trap. It is a suffocating way to live, and it completely paralyzes your ability to learn a language. I need you to listen to me very carefully right now. Your desperate need to be perfect is actually the biggest obstacle blocking your progress. Language is not a sterile, fragile piece of glass that you must carefully carry without dropping. Language is a tool. It is a messy, rough, heavy tool designed to build connections. Tools get scratched. They get dirty. When you are terrified of making a mistake, you choose silence over connection. You stand by the buzzing machines in that factory, holding your words back, because you would rather be safely silent than bravely incorrect. But making visible, embarrassing mistakes is not a sign of your weakness. It is the mandatory tax you must pay to achieve a high standard of success. Every time you open your mouth and accidentally say the wrong word, you are essentially buying a lesson that your brain will never, ever forget. I want you to give yourself the radical permission to be wonderfully loudly imperfect. Let the heavy armor drop to the floor. If you are ready to let go of that perfectionism and embrace the beautiful mess of learning, please take a moment to subscribe and like this video, because this channel is a safe haven for people who are brave enough to make mistakes. Now let us apply this bravery directly to our textile factory floor. You have already introduced yourself, But now you are handed a task. You need to ask about something specific, perhaps related to the very important rules that keep the factory safe and environmentally friendly. In corporate environments, we often talk about records or compliance. For our A1 and A2 learners, let us look at the word records. Records are just the important papers or data that track what is happening. You might need to ask a colleague where to put these documents. Instead of freezing in panic, you just smile and say, "Excuse me, where should I put these records?" That is a perfect, highly professional sentence. "Excuse me, where should I put these records?" Or, if you are looking for the safety guidelines, you can say, "Could you show me the safety rules?" You do not need to construct a massive, complex paragraph to sound professional. Professionalism is about clarity and respect, not complicated vocabulary. By asking, "Where should I put these records?" you are immediately taking charge of your duties. You might stumble on the pronunciation of the letter R, and that is completely fine. The message is communicated. The job gets done. You are moving forward. You are no longer just surviving the day. You are actively participating in it, one beautifully imperfect sentence at a time. There is a very specific moment on your first day of a new job, or in the middle of any difficult journey, when the initial rush of adrenaline completely evaporates. For the first few hours, your heart was beating so fast, your eyes were wide open, and the pure nervous energy was carrying you forward. You were surviving on pure instinct. But then, usually around midday, reality finally sets in. The loud noises of the textile machines suddenly become a dull, exhausting drone. Your feet start to ache. Your brain feels like a dry sponge that absolutely cannot absorb a single drop of new information. You look at the clock and you realize you still have half the day left, and then you have to wake up and do this exact same thing all over again tomorrow. This is the moment I call the invisible plateau. It is the quiet, unglamorous reality of the daily grind. In our modern culture, we are constantly sold the shiny idea of endless passion. We are told that if we love what we are doing, or if our goals are big enough, we will always feel energized and excited. But that is a complete lie. Motivation is a chaotic, extremely unreliable friend. It shows up for the grand opening, it cheers loudly at the starting line, and then it quietly sneaks out the back door as soon as the real boring work actually begins. When you are standing on that factory floor, struggling to remember the simple English words you studied just last night, motivation is nowhere to be found. The only thing left in the room is discipline. And discipline is not loud. It is not glamorous. Discipline is the quiet, heavy resolve that simply says, "I am tired, my brain is foggy, but I am not leaving. I am going to stay right here and finish the day." You see, true mastery is never built in the exciting cinematic moments. It is built in the dark shadows. It is forged in those deeply uncomfortable, incredibly mundane hours when nobody is watching you. Nobody is cheering for you, and all you want to do is run away and hide. You are carrying the immense weight of learning a new language, adapting to a new environment, and meeting a new professional standard all at the exact same time. It is completely normal to feel a bone-deep exhaustion that an afternoon nap simply cannot fix. This fatigue is not a sign that you lack intelligence or capability. It is simply the heavy physical toll of your brain, actively rewiring itself to survive. You are literally building new mental pathways in real time. So when that midday crash hits you hard, I do not want you to panic. I want you to expect it, greet it, and respect it. Just breathe through the heavy fog. If you are finding the internal strength to keep showing up every single day, despite the deep exhaustion, please take a quick moment to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. Let us celebrate that quiet discipline together, because this community is built entirely for people who refuse to quit when the journey gets hard. Now, let us apply this directly to your physical survival on the factory floor. When you hit that inevitable wall of exhaustion, you need to know how to gently advocate for your own rest. You cannot work continuously without breaking down. Taking a pause is a mandatory professional skill. The essential word you need to know today is break. In English, a break is a short period of rest during the workday. In a large industrial facility, there is usually a designated area for this rest, which we naturally call the break room. When you feel that mental fog completely taking over, You simply turn to the colleague standing next to you and calmly ask, "Excuse me, where is the break room?" It is a highly practical, utterly necessary question. Excuse me, where is the break room? And if you want to understand the company schedule so you can mentally prepare for the rest of your long shift, you can clearly ask, "What time is our lunch break?" You do not need to explain how tired you are. You do not need to justify why you are asking the question. You are simply gathering the essential facts to manage your own personal energy. By asking, "What time is our lunch break?" you are demonstrating that you respect the daily rhythm of the factory. You are learning to pace yourself. You are surviving the invisible plateau with absolute dignity and grace. Have you ever found yourself nodding your head up and down, smiling politely, and pretending you completely understand what someone is saying, when inside your mind is completely blank? It's a terrible, sinking feeling. You're standing there on the factory floor, a supervisor has just explained something very fast, and you missed at least half of the words. But instead of stopping them, you just smile and say, "Okay. Why do we do this?" Why do we choose to remain completely confused rather than simply admit we need them to explain it again? It comes down to a very specific, quiet kind of guilt. It's the deep, heavy guilt of feeling like you're a burden. Society has convinced us that independence is the ultimate sign of competence. We're incorrectly taught that smart people figure things out entirely on their own. When you're the newest person in a fast-paced environment where massive machines are running and everyone has strict deadlines, you feel like a tiny roadblock standing in the middle of a very busy highway. You watch your colleagues moving at top speed, and the voice in your head screams, "Don't slow them down, don't be annoying, just figure it out yourself." So you swallow your questions. You hide your confusion. You pretend. But I need to tell you a very hard truth today. Pretending is the most dangerous thing you can possibly do for your career and your personal growth. Pretending is a fake shield that inevitably cracks. When you pretend to understand a safety protocol, or how to operate a heavy machine, or what your exact duties are, you're setting a trap for your future self. Eventually, the truth comes out, and the resulting mistake is always much more embarrassing than the original question ever would have been. Asking for help isn't a sign of weakness. Asking someone to stop what they're doing and explain something to you is actually an act of immense professional courage. It requires massive vulnerability to look a senior colleague in the eye and admit your ignorance. True experts respect the beginner who asks questions because it proves that the beginner cares about doing the job perfectly. They would rather spend 5 minutes explaining it to you right now than spend 5 hours fixing your silent mistake tomorrow. You have to actively forgive yourself for needing help. You have to accept that your training phase requires you to take up other people's time, and you're entirely worthy of that time. If you're ready to let go of the guilt of being a beginner, and if this community is helping you build that inner courage, please hit the like button and subscribe right now. We're breaking down these invisible mental barriers every single day together. Let's take this exact mindset and apply it to the reality of the textile factory. You're standing near your workstation. Someone has just explained how to log your production numbers, but the machinery was loud and they spoke way too fast. You have to stop nodding. You have to stop pretending. You need to politely interrupt the silence and claim your right to understand. The most essential phrase for any beginner is a request for repetition. You simply look at them, keep your posture tall, and say, "I'm sorry, could you repeat that, please?" It's incredibly simple. "I'm sorry, could you repeat that, please?" Or, if you understood the words but you need to see the physical action, you ask for a demonstration. You ask, "Can you show me how to do this?" In a highly physical environment like a factory, visual learning is absolutely everything. Asking, "Can you show me how to do this?" is exactly what a responsible team member does. You might also encounter a new physical tool, which we call equipment in English. Equipment refers to the machines or tools you need for a specific purpose. You can point and say, "How do I use this equipment?" It's direct, it's honest, and it's highly professional. You aren't hiding in the shadows of your own guilt anymore. You're stepping into the light, asking for exactly what you need, and building the foundation of a truly capable professional. Have you ever walked into the restroom at your new job, locked the door, stared at your own reflection in the mirror, and thought, "They are going to figure me out today"? It is a very specific, quiet kind of terror. You splash cold water on your face, trying to wash away the overwhelming feeling that you are just playing dress-up in adult clothes. This is what psychologists call imposter syndrome, and it is the heaviest invisible weight you can carry on your shoulders. You look at the complex systems running around you, the massive scale of the operation, and you genuinely believe that your presence there is some kind of administrative error. You think that at any moment a manager is going to walk up, tap you on the shoulder and say, "We are so sorry, we made a huge mistake, you do not actually belong here." I want to speak directly to that fear right now. We rarely talk about how isolating it is to feel like a fraud in your own life. When you are learning a new language while trying to adapt to a high-pressure professional environment, that imposter voice in your head screams at maximum volume. It falsely tells you that your accent makes you sound less intelligent, and that your slow vocabulary recall makes you totally unqualified. But I need you to understand a massive psychological truth today. Imposter syndrome is not a symptom of your incompetence. It is actually a symptom of your incredibly high standards. Truly ignorant people never worry about being imposters because they completely lack the self-awareness to understand the gap between where they are and where they want to be. The simple fact that you are deeply worried about your performance proves that you care immensely about the quality of your work. You recognize the gravity of your role. You are entirely aware of the standards required, and you are pushing yourself beyond your current limits to reach them. The fear you feel is just your brain acknowledging the size of the challenge. You have not tricked anyone into hiring you. You did not sneak through the back door. You walked through the front door because you earned the right to be there. The people who brought you onto the team knew exactly what your current English level was, and they chose you anyway because they saw your potential, your work ethic, and your character. They did not hire a finished product. They hired a human being who is actively growing. If this perspective helps calm that anxious voice in your mind, and if you are committed to fighting off that imposter syndrome, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button right now. Let us take that newfound confidence back onto the factory floor. We are moving beyond simple greetings today. In modern industrial settings, your job is rarely just about running a machine. It is often about the bigger picture, like ensuring the factory is operating safely and protecting the outside world. This is where we talk about environmental rules. In corporate language, following these strict rules is called compliance. It means doing exactly what the law or the company requires. The word environment refers to our natural surroundings. Your supervisor might hand you a checklist to make sure the textile dyes are being handled correctly. You might need to confirm that you are following the rules by saying, "I am checking the environmental compliance data now." That is a highly professional sentence. "I am checking the environmental compliance data now." Or you might simply need to ask, "Are these the new environmental rules?" By using words like compliance and environment, you are instantly demonstrating that you understand the serious responsibilities of your role. You are not just a beginner struggling with language. You are a vital part of a team maintaining critical global standards. You are exactly where you belong. Have you ever felt like you have entirely lost your own personality? Think about who you are when you speak your native language with your closest friends. You are probably funny. You are sharp and quick to reply. You know exactly how to use subtle sarcasm, how to tell a completely engaging story, and how to comfortably control a conversation. You have a fully formed, deeply colorful identity that people love and respect. But the exact second you step onto that massive factory floor and try to communicate in English, all of that completely vanishes. You suddenly feel like a very small, very boring child. You give awkward one-word answers. You nod blankly when you should be laughing. Imagine standing in the factory break room holding a cup of coffee. A coworker tells a really funny joke. By the time your tired brain translates the vocabulary words, understands the cultural context, and slowly formulates a clever response, the moment has already passed entirely. The conversation has moved on, and you are left standing there, trapped inside your own mind, holding on to a brilliant sentence that you never got the chance to say out loud. This is one of the most painful silent tragedies of learning a new language as an adult. You feel like your true self is locked inside a thick glass box, screaming to get out, but nobody around you can actually hear it. They only see this quiet, hesitant, heavily muted version of you. It is deeply frustrating to know exactly how smart, experienced, and capable you are on the inside, while presenting a totally different, seemingly incompetent image to the outside world. I call this the identity gap. It is the vast, uncomfortable space between who you actually are and who you are currently able to express yourself to be. I want to sincerely validate that specific pain right now because almost nobody talks about it in language classes. It is emotionally exhausting to feel temporarily stripped of your natural charisma. But you absolutely need to understand that this loss of personality is strictly temporary. You are not shrinking as a person. You are actually expanding. Right now, your brain is doing the incredibly heavy lifting of building a brand new communication bridge. While a massive bridge is under construction, the traffic is always going to be slow. It is going to be messy and frustrating. But you are not losing your old self. You are painfully stretching your mind to accommodate an entirely new, second version of yourself. Every single time you force yourself to speak a simple, imperfect sentence, you are laying down one more solid brick on that bridge. One day, the construction will be finished. Your unique humor will cross over. Your professional sharpness will cross over. Your true, unfiltered personality will finally flood into this new language. Until that day comes, please be incredibly gentle with yourself during this messy transition phase. You have to accept being the quiet observer for a little while, and there is zero shame in that. If you are tired of feeling trapped in that glass box and you want to keep building that bridge with us, please take a quick second to hit the subscribe button and like this video. We are bringing our true personalities out into the light, one brave sentence at a time. Now let us walk straight back into that noisy factory environment with this new patience for ourselves. Since we are observing and learning how the daily operations actually work, you need to ask about the specific routine. Factories run on very strict schedules and methods. The two highly practical words you need today are shift and procedure. Your shift is your specific scheduled block of work hours. A procedure is the exact official way something must be done. When you are watching a senior coworker operate a textile machine, you can simply point and ask, "What is the correct procedure for this?" It sounds incredibly formal and professional, but it is deeply practical. What is the correct procedure for this? Or if you want to understand your own daily schedule better, you can turn to your manager and clearly ask, "What time does my shift end today?" By using the word shift, you instantly sound like someone who completely understands industrial workflows. You are not trying to be the funniest person in the room right now. You are simply gathering the essential building blocks of your new professional life. You look them in the eye and ask, "What time does my shift end today?" And with that one simple, clearly spoken question, you are safely laying down another brick on your bridge. Have you ever stared at a calendar and felt a crushing sense of betrayal? You have been putting in the intense work every single day. You show up to the factory early. You review your notes on the bus ride home. You practice your pronunciation until your jaw hurts. You are doing absolutely everything right. But when you actually open your mouth to speak to a supervisor, the exact same hesitation happens. You stumble over the exact same vowels. It feels like you have not moved a single inch forward. This is one of the most dangerous phases of any complicated learning journey. I call it the illusion of zero progress. It is the agonizing gap between the intense effort you are actively investing and the visible results you desperately want to see right now. Human beings are fundamentally wired for instant gratification. When we push a button, we expect a light to turn on instantly. When we put in a week of hard labor, we expect a paycheck. So, when you pour hours of immense mental energy into learning English, and you still cannot hold a basic conversation without freezing, your brain immediately assumes that you are failing. A quiet voice whispers that maybe you are just not smart enough. Maybe your brain is simply too old to absorb new information. But I need you to completely reject that lie right now. You have to understand how real, lasting growth actually happens beneath the surface. Think about a massive tree. For the first few years of its life, almost all of its explosive growth happens entirely underground. It is desperately pushing its root system deeper into the dark soil, anchoring itself to the earth. To an outside observer, it seems like absolutely nothing is happening. But the day those roots are finally deep enough to support the massive weight of a tall tree, it suddenly shoots up into the sky. Your brain is doing exactly the same thing right now. You are building an invisible, incredibly complex root system in your mind. Every single time you try to remember a word and fail, your brain silently strengthens that neural pathway for the next attempt. You are making microscopic, entirely invisible progress every single day. The fact that you cannot see it yet absolutely does not mean it is not happening. You just have to trust the dark, invisible work. If you are willing to trust that hidden process, and if you ever need a gentle reminder to keep showing up, please take a quick second to hit the subscribe button and like this video to support our community. Now, let us bring this idea of hidden, invisible work directly to the heavy machines on our factory floor. In any industrial facility, the most important work is the work you rarely notice. It is the quiet care that stops things from breaking down completely. We call this process maintenance. Maintenance is the daily act of keeping equipment in safe working condition through regular checks. Just like your brain needs invisible maintenance, the massive weaving machines need steady care. You might need to verify if a machine is safe before you start your shift. You can look at your supervisor and clearly ask, "Excuse me, has this machine had its daily maintenance?" It is a highly professional sentence. Has this machine had its daily maintenance? Another deeply powerful word is inspect, which means to look at something very carefully. You can point to a finished fabric and say, "I need to inspect this product before it leaves my station." By actively using words like maintenance and inspect, you are participating in the foundational work of the factory. You are doing the quiet, unseen labor that keeps the operation safely running, exactly like you are doing the unseen labor in your mind. Have you ever spoken a sentence in English, and the first thing you noticed was the heavy sound of your own accent? Instantly, a deep wave of shame washes over you. You watch the other person's face, looking for that tiny shift in their eyes where they lean in and say, "Excuse me, where are you from?" In that fraction of a second, your professional identity feels completely erased. You are no longer seen as a skilled worker or a capable mind. You are suddenly reduced to a geographical label. This is a specific vulnerability that native speakers will never understand. When you speak with an accent, you feel as though you are walking around with your resume printed on your forehead. But society is reading it incorrectly. We live in a world that wrongly equates a flat, native-sounding pronunciation with high intelligence. When your vowels carry the rich history of your mother tongue, the panicked voice in your head tells you that you sound uneducated. You start to apologize for the way you sound. You say, "I am sorry for my bad English, but I want to completely shatter that toxic narrative today." Your accent is not a mistake. It is not a sign of poor education. Your accent is a badge of extreme courage. It is physical proof that you have navigated two entirely different worlds. It loudly announces to the room that your brain holds multiple realities at the exact same time. The person judging you likely only knows one way to view the universe, while you are actively translating the world on the fly. Stop apologizing for the sound of your survival. Stop shrinking your voice to make monolingual people comfortable. The unique sound of your English is the sound of an immense mental triumph. Own it with absolute pride. Let them hear the beautiful geography of your journey in every word you speak. If you are ready to speak with unapologetic pride, please take a second to subscribe and hit the like button. This community respects every single voice. Let us take that powerful voice back onto the noisy factory floor. We are continuing to master the physical reality of your new job. In any manufacturing environment, you are constantly working with physical items. Eventually, you will finish a massive spool of thread, or use up the last box of safety gloves. You cannot just stand there idly, waiting for a manager to accidentally notice the problem. You must clearly communicate the shortage and take ownership of your workstation. The core word we use for the physical items you need to do your specific job is material. And the highly effective phrase to explain that you have nothing left is run out. When your machine suddenly stops because the required thread is gone, you confidently walk up to your supervisor, stand tall, and clearly say, "Excuse me, I have run out of material." It is a completely perfect, highly professional sentence. "Excuse me, I have run out of material." You do not need to over-explain the situation or feel embarrassed about stopping production. You just need to deliver the facts safely. And to immediately solve the problem, You logically follow up with a very simple direction question. You calmly ask, where can I get more? By stating the problem and immediately asking for the direct solution, you show immense professional maturity to your team. You say, I have run out of material, where can I get more? With your unique accent shining through, you are taking absolute control of your environment, managing your responsibilities, and proving your undeniable competence. Have you ever started speaking a sentence with absolute confidence, and right in the middle of it, your brain completely shuts down? You have all the eyes in the room looking right at you. You are halfway through explaining something important, and suddenly the exact English word you need completely vanishes. Your mind just goes totally blank. It is like someone abruptly pulled the power cord directly out of a computer. The silence stretches out, your face gets hot, and you end up awkwardly trailing off or using a completely wrong, simple word that entirely ruins your point. I know that exact panic. It is incredibly embarrassing, and it leaves you feeling entirely defeated for the rest of the day. But we need to talk about the physical reality of what is actually happening in your head during those moments. People who have only ever spoken one language have absolutely no idea about the physical exhaustion of mental translation. They do not understand that for every single sentence you speak, you are actually performing 3 massive tasks simultaneously. You are formulating the thought in your native language, you are frantically searching your mental dictionary for the English equivalent, and you are trying to manipulate your physical mouth to produce a completely foreign sound. You are essentially running 2 highly demanding operating systems on a single computer at the exact same time. It takes an immense amount of physical energy. The moment your mind goes blank is not a failure of your memory. It is simply your brain experiencing a temporary system overload. It is cognitive translation fatigue. The engine overheated because you were pushing it so incredibly hard. You have to stop punishing yourself for these completely natural mental pauses. When you lose your word, the absolute worst thing you can do is panic and immediately apologize for your English. Take a long breath. It is completely okay to let the silence hang in the air for a few seconds. If the word simply will not come to you, just smile and describe the thing instead. Or simply look them in the eye and say, I am looking for the right word, give me a second. By owning the pause, you take back total control of the room. You show them that your thoughts are valuable enough to wait for. If this raw honesty is exactly what you need to hear to keep pushing forward, please take one moment to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. Your support helps us reach more brave learners who are absolutely exhausted and need this exact encouragement. Let us take this calm, collected mindset back to the textile factory floor. You are managing your station, but suddenly, the heavy weaving machine starts making a strange noise or stops producing the fabric correctly. You cannot fix it yourself, and your tired brain cannot find the exact complex technical word for the mechanical failure. You do not need to be an engineer to report the issue perfectly. The most powerful, universally understood word for a problem or a broken part is defect. And when a machine is running, we say it is operating. If something goes wrong, you calmly find your supervisor, take a deep breath to manage the brain fog, and clearly say, excuse me, there is a defect in this fabric. It is a highly professional way to flag a problem. Excuse me, there is a defect in this fabric. If the machine itself is acting strange and you cannot explain exactly why, you simply say this machine is not operating correctly. You do not need the complicated engineering vocabulary to sound smart. You just need to confidently deliver the basic warning. This machine is not operating correctly. You are taking complete responsibility for your work area, successfully managing the system overload in your tired brain, and communicating perfectly with your team. Have you ever sat down with your oldest friends after a long week of working at your new job and studying English, only to realize that you suddenly have absolutely nothing to talk about anymore? It is a very quiet, deeply painful realization. You sit at the familiar table, listening to them complain about the exact same things they were complaining about 5 years ago, and you suddenly feel like a total alien in your own hometown. This is the hidden, unspoken cost of personal growth that absolutely nobody warns you about. We always talk about success as if it is just a process of adding new, shiny things to your life. We think we are just adding new language skills, a new professional title, or more income. But true, profound growth is actually a process of aggressive subtraction. When you actively decide to elevate your life, when you choose to subject yourself to the brutal discipline of learning a foreign language and stepping into highly demanding professional environments like our textile factory, you inevitably start to outgrow the people who chose to stay exactly where they were. You are paying what I call the ambition tax. You are mentally vibrating at a completely different frequency now. Your friends might look at you and say you have really changed. And they usually say it like it is a terrible insult. They might make sarcastic jokes about your new factory job, or tease your strict dedication to studying your vocabulary words every night. It hurts deeply. But you must understand right now that their uncomfortable reaction has absolutely nothing to do with you. It is entirely about their own internal insecurities. Your active pursuit of a better life is naturally holding up a very harsh mirror to their own stagnation. Your effort loudly reminds them of the effort they are actively refusing to make. When you feel that devastating loneliness creeping in, when you feel terribly guilty for wanting more out of life than the people you grew up with, I need you to anchor yourself to this one fundamental truth. You are not abandoning your past. You are simply refusing to let your past dictate your future. You are building a lifeboat, and unfortunately, you cannot force everyone to row with you. It is completely okay to grieve the loss of those comfortable, easy relationships. It is a real loss. But you absolutely cannot lower your new standards just to make other people feel comfortable around you. You must keep walking forward even if you have to walk alone for a little while. If you are experiencing that quiet isolation right now, and if you desperately need a community that actually supports your highest potential, please take a quick second to hit the subscribe button and like this video. You are never alone here. We are building our lifeboats together. Let us bring that quiet, unshakable strength into the final hours of your very first day on the factory floor. You have navigated the loud machines, the overwhelming rules, and the heavy language barriers. The day is finally ending. But when the massive textile machines finally power down and the shift is officially over, you do not just silently walk out the back door. You must finish the day with the exact same professional dignity you started with. In industrial environments, the official act of recording your departure time is called clocking out. You might need to confirm this process by asking a senior coworker, "Excuse me, where do I clock out?" It is an essential, highly practical phrase. "Excuse me, where do I clock out?" And if you need to pass your workstation duties to the person arriving for the evening shift, we call this a handover. You can simply look at the new operator, smile warmly despite your exhaustion, and clearly say, "Here are the notes for the shift handover." By ending your incredibly hard day with this clear vocabulary, you walk out of those heavy doors completely transformed, ready to rest your mind. As we bring our time together today to a close, I want you to take a deep breath and reflect on the incredible mental journey you have taken. We started this episode standing completely frozen in front of a heavy door, terrified of the unknown. We explored the deep isolation of being a beginner, the heavy exhaustion of learning, the paralyzing trap of perfectionism, the quiet terror of feeling like an imposter, and the unspoken ambition tax you pay when you outgrow your old surroundings. You faced every single one of those mental battles today, and you walked through that bustling textile factory with your head held high. You did not just survive your first day. You owned it completely. Before we finally log off, let us quickly gather up the powerful language tools we collected on the factory floor. I am going to walk you through 10 highly useful words you learned today, so they lock permanently into your memory. First, we have supervisor, which simply means the manager in charge of your work area. You might calmly say, "I need to speak to the supervisor." Second, we talked about records, which are the important files tracking data. You could ask, "Where should I put these records?" Third is a word you absolutely need for your sanity break, which is a necessary period of rest. You can ask, "What time is our lunch break?" Fourth, we discussed equipment, meaning the physical machines or tools. A great sentence is, "How do I use this equipment?" Fifth is the highly professional word compliance, which means strictly following the laws. You might say, "I am checking the compliance data now." Sixth is environment, referring to the natural world. You could ask, "Are these the new environment rules?" Seventh is shift, your scheduled block of work hours. You can confidently ask, "What time does my shift end?" Eighth is procedure, the official way something must be done. A smart question is, what is the correct procedure for this? Ninth is maintenance, the act of keeping machines safe. You can verify this by asking, has this machine had its daily maintenance? And 10th is defect, which means a flaw or broken part. If something is wrong, you say there is a defect in this fabric. Now let us move these words from your brain to your mouth. We are going to do a quick shadowing session. I will say 5 practical sentences, and I want you to speak them out loud right now. Do not worry about your accent. Just speak. Here is the first one. Hi, I am Sarah. I am the new team member here. Now the second one. Excuse me, could you tell me where the supervisor is? Let us try the third. I am sorry, could you repeat that, please? Here is the fourth. What is the correct procedure for this? And the final sentence. Excuse me, there is a defect in this fabric. You did an absolutely fantastic job today. Remember that building this new version of yourself takes immense time. Every awkward pause is proof that you are stretching your mind. If you felt understood today, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel right now. Your presence makes this community so much stronger. Keep walking forward, keep making those wonderfully brave mistakes, and I will be right here waiting for you in the very next episode.